So let's continue on with episode 45 of the Plain Progress podcast. Moving on to our next segment, which of course is the Patchnotes.
The Patchnotes.
Please take it away.
Oh, all right. Yeah, no, we're gonna jump right into this. So our main article this week comes from Video Game Chronicles, Andy Robinson. Insiders describe Fast and Furious exits from Xbox's Perfect Dark studio. So peeps, this week, various staff departures from the initiative, the Xbox studio that's currently working on the Perfect Dark reboot. VGC reports that 34 people, as much as half of the staff, have left the studio in the past year, which begs the question, just what the hell is going on at the initiative, and what does this mean for Microsoft and Perfect Dark?
So I didn't even read that before the show started. 34 people. That's
34
insanity.
people. The story gets a little bit more insane once you like go into like the details here. Mario, if you want to pull up the article, there's a helpful little thing at the bottom. I'll DM it to you. Yeah, it has like, if you want to throw it up on screen, it has like all like literally a list of the people who worked at the initiative and who's there and who's not.
Yeah.
So I think I know what the problem is, and I think it's pretty obvious. It's a quadruple A studio. This is the first of its kind. They're expecting more. They're expecting you to work 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
They're expecting you to work 80 hours a week. No weekends, no family. Like, you're sitting in the box and you're finishing this fucking game.
Yeah. So I forgot about the quadruple A studio thing.
Yeah.
That was the thing. This is the first quadruple A studio. But anyway, yeah. So the Perfect Dark reboot, if you remember, was it was announced back at the Game Awards in 2020. So it's been a while since we've seen actually any kind of news on this.
That's when it was officially announced.
Yeah, it was officially announced with a trailer and everything like that. Video Game Chronicle reports that the departures have come fast and furiously. I thought it was kind of hilarious, just the terminology and like just based on the movie, behind the scenes here at Pip, we're looking to watch some Fast and Furious movies here. Some staff members have quit, tout not a collaborative workplace to work at. It seems like a lot of the problems come down from the top-down hierarchy design with the studio heads dictating creative decisions. Staff are seemingly unheard by upper management due to this hierarchy on things such as dev priorities, staffing, and project planning. Upper management caused the project to be developed at very painfully slow. And then most of the departures seem to be from the senior design team, unsurprisingly. So like the big ups of who's designing the game seem like because of this top-down hierarchy that they have to go to these two individuals and tell them, hey, we want to do this in the game. And then they have to give the go ahead for it. It's not like how it usually works with video games from what I can see, where like someone brings up something creative and the game kind of works around that. It's more of like two people are the head of the project and they're making sure that this goes exactly how they want to. And it's seemingly creating something like one, a painfully slow experience for everybody at the studio, and two, it's not very creative for people who are creative people. They want to put their own ideas into the game. They want to make their mark on the game, and it seems like it's only being that mark idea is only being reserved for these two individuals who are in the higher management of this.
Yeah.
So
I pulled
it's
up,
also,
I think is what you're looking for.
Yep.
It's also funny because it's quote unquote not a collaborative place to work, but they are collaborating with somebody with another game studio.
Exactly. So we'll get to that. But Mario here has on the screen some of the departures that are kind of going on. Some of the departures have already left for other studios. Some of those departures have been from other studios coming in, or not departures, people that they had on the initiative or from other studios coming in. Some of them have departed and left for other titles, as you can see on the screen there. But yeah, VGC reports that via LinkedIn, the initiative has less than 50 people on staff now.
That's insanity.
Absolutely insane. And from what they can gather, departures started to happen around September of last year, around the same time Crystal Dynamics of Avengers fame, if you don't know, were signed to co-develop the game. At this point, being more hands-on than the studio that they were kind of coming to help. But yeah,
So
and of
Square
course
taking over?
the internet has obviously reacted to this, and a lot of people are starting to think that this is mainly Microsoft's fault, because of we had a very similar departure, but not as crazy as this one with 343, where as soon as Halo was finished, they had a bunch of departures and stuff like that. Not as crazy as 34 people leaving your staff, especially if the game's not even finished. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think is going on? Like, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, in terms of like how they're doing the hierarchy of design, what do you think what's going on with the staff? Do you think it's because, during COVID, at least through my eyes, at least from what I've noticed, there is a big shortage of people who there's a big talent shortage when it comes to gaming right now, and it seems like studios are super ready to eat up anybody they possibly can. Do you think it's like, hey, I have a better opportunity somewhere else, there's more opportunities now? What do you guys think?
I mean, I'll jump in with this cat here. I would say a lot of it probably has to deal with the fact that this was a new developing studio right at the cusp when COVID was hitting, and they just couldn't vibe immediately, and so the structure of it just became unwieldy. That's probably the start of it. How it becomes painfully slow, I guess. Ultimately, it was up to the fact that everything is dictated by two people and not so much a structure in a way that I think that probably would have worked best. It just sucks because it was a brand new studio. Also, who gives a fuck about Perfect Dark? I don't know why they're making it. That's just my personal opinion.
It was actually good.
That's fine. That's whatever. We didn't need to bring it back. That's all I'm saying.
I do feel bad for the people who came into this situation and were very excited to have a job doing, what they're passionate about, and for them to be confronted by an unpleasant workspace where the management seems to not know how to delegate. I can imagine it's a really frustrating experience. And so, I understand why so many people want to leave, and I think that's reflective of management and the structure more than anything else. But it also sucks for those people who have to either try to find other jobs or just, quit and figure it out. I hope that the mass departures makes them reconsider their structure of the company, and they can improve that for the people still there and the people they're hiring to replace everybody. But this is a fucking hell of a wake-up call.
Oh yeah. Like, I imagine Microsoft woke up that day and was just like, what the hell is going on?
That's me every time I load up Twitter in the mornings. Like, I hope I'll get canceled and wake up.
It's an interesting thing where you had all this talent for with a quadruple A, like so what it looked like, what Frank was saying, it's like the upper management had all the, like, they had the ideas, they had to go down to like the senior to the junior to everybody, and like that's all, like that's what your guys' plan is, that's all you guys can do. Any kind of ideas that are coming from senior really wasn't taken into account.
Yeah.
And then
some, like, recounts say that, like, people from like those lower levels would bring ideas to the upper level, and obviously they would never get a response back.
Yeah. But then all the senior people, all the manager and senior people left, right?
So it would go like these two individuals. I forgot to put their names in the doc, but these two individuals, and then you would have your senior management, and then you would have, like, it would go down from them, right? So it seemed like even like the people who were like at the higher level design team weren't even getting like the time of day in terms of like creative like outlets, so they left first.
Okay. Yeah, this is turned into a Crystal Dynamic joint now. This is them developing. This is them developing Perfect Dark now at this point, because I don't think there's anybody left at the initiative that is, like, part of management, like that kind of type thing. So we'll see. Either we're gonna get an Avengers game out of this, like Avengers, like
Joanna
that kind
Dark
of
is now in the Avengers,
or we're gonna get Tomb Raider out of it.
I think we're gonna get more something akin to Tomb Raider, and a good one, not the third one that came out.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who hated the third of that game because it's god awful.
No, you never played it. You never played the third one.
I played the third one. I played through all of them. What are you talking
The
about?
first and second were
Shadow?
great. Yeah, Shadow
I
of the
played through all
Tomb
three
Raider.
of them.
I
What
thought
are
you
talking
I
about?
thought you shitted on Rise.
I shitted on all of them. They're all. I mean, the first one's really good.
The first one is really good. The
Rise
second
is
one
bad
is
because of
okay.
voice acting.
I didn't even know you played the Hispanic one. Oh, okay.
Rise is good. I think
Oh, you mean the
it
Aztec
gives
one?
a new
I thought it was
perspective
Hispanic.
of things. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. I think one thing that screwed them up royally is announcing something that you have just started on.
Mhm.
This is a new studio. Like, why would you? One, you shouldn't have called it a quadruple A studio because that gives certain expectations for management, and it also gives certain expectations for the people working there.
It's a lot of pressure to put on.
Yeah, exactly. People who are just probably starting out.
Was it simply
Bless
because
you.
that they were doing
By
the
the way.
initiative and that's what made them quadruple A?
Yeah.
I guess
I don't
so.
know.
I don't know.
Wait, what did you just say?
Is that how math works?
Wait, what did you say, Mario? Sorry.
The initiative and Crystal Dynamics coming together.
No,
that's
that wasn't the quadruple.
No.
Crystal Dynamics came on to the studio after they already
A year ago,
interesting.
I think so.
that would have
it's
made more
quadruple-
sense to me.
Quadruple
in
A
September
was-
of last year, Crystal Dynamics showed up and started to co-develop with the studio.
Yep.
That's around the time Departure started to happen. So there's a very good chance Crystal Dynamics is also kind of partly to blame for this as well. But there's nothing in the report saying that, so I'm not going to say that.
Sure.
I personally think like they were having Departures. They had to bring Crystal Dynamics into it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why they brought Crystal Dynamics in.
I would
'Cause people
also
are already leaving.
I would also say I would probably trust Crystal Dynamics to do this better than like Crystal Dynamics. I know can kick ass in a solo,
Just don't make a live
action
game.
player game.
Well,
Here's,
Don't make a live game.
here's the crazy thing about that, Ruben. So if you look at if you want to pull that up one more time, like the people who have departed, the initiative had some pretty like heavy hitters in like the video game market. We had people who were working on God of War, people who were working from like big
Naughty
AAA
Dog
games, Naughty Dog. Like they had talent. id Software, Jedi Fallen Order. People
Infinity War,
Respawn. Respawn, they had good devs, and it just seemed like they just weren't being utilized.
Yeah. I mean, what else can you say on that? Honestly, that's
My hope is
director for Red Dead Redemption.
he's still on.
Yeah.
But still, Red Dead was a little too long for me. But that's neither here nor there.
Cinematic wise, that game looked fucking good.
It did.
Yeah.
This sad story. Can I jump to this part where everyone's like, "Is this Microsoft's fault?" I'm gonna say,
no,
yes, but not fucking like dramatically. Like this is the end of fucking Microsoft. I think people jumped on because it was hashtag like cancel Phil Spencer, or it was something like on Phil Spencer. I'm like, Phil Spencer has like fucking 30 fucking other studios in this
exactly,
deal. And
yeah,
they're pretty much running efficiently as of now. This is like one of the, if not two, major missteps. Which one was probably Halo, right? But
Yeah, with 343 departures and everything like that.
Yeah, and ultimately that was probably because they were reaching the end of whatever they're doing, and COVID came and that shit happened, right?
Yeah, that seems more natural to me because it's like the game's over. People are going to want to move on to other projects. Maybe you don't want to work on Halo for the rest of your life, so you're going to probably work on another studio. That made more sense to me. This is definitely like something's going on in that studio.
This is
This is not.
Yeah.
So I also think
what's up, Ruben?
I was just going to say, I also think that, Phil Spencer has said time and time again that they're letting game studios do whatever they want to do, So like they're giving them the free range to do whatever the hell it is they want. So I can't blame this on Phil Spencer. They also could have asked at any point in time, like, hey, we need some help with management. Like shit is happening. They don't want us to be creative, and we are trying to do something creative here. We're all trying to pitch ideas that we think are going to be good, but these two people are just like, no, not happening.
Yeah. And you bring up a very good point. And one of the point I was going to bring up as well is that like people want, like when Phil Spencer and the Xbox and all these people were starting to eat up these studios, one of the main things people started to have was like the Disney reaction, right? It's like, oh, how does this change these studios? How does it change the games I love? And very much people wanted Xbox, Microsoft, and Phil Spencer to be very hands off of these studios, but still be able to fund them and have them still be creative studios as they once were. And it baffles me now that all of a sudden, some things go bad at a studio because they're being hands off, and now everybody wants them to be hands on.
Phil Spencer's head on a pike.
Yeah, they want Phil
I do wonder having all these studios, you can run all these studios and try to have an output of like high caliber from all these studios.
I don't know.
A lot of studios under your belt. That's a lot of shit.
They also have, but they have a lot of people also like the heads of them, right? So
they all have to report to one person.
Yeah. True. So I think what it is eventually we'll have a couple studios who just say, hey, we're going to fall off of this Xbox train and we're going to just do our own stuff like Bungie did, but also not like Bungie anymore because Bungie's now at Sony. But
don't bring up the words, okay?
I'm sorry. I expect the Xbox team to stay as like the big wigs, I'm drawing a real blank on all of the Xbox studios.
Well, 343.
343 is definitely staying on. I would say
I want to call them the Initiative, but they're not the Initiative.
The Coalition. The Coalition.
Sure, him and Phil Spencer. Put up a picture of me and Phil Spencer too.
I couldn't find it yours because you don't have Facebook.
Oh my God,
anymore.
of course you couldn't.
You see it on Facebook.
The Coalition, which I also get confused with.
A picture of me and Todd Howard.
Put it in here.
Oh God.
Yeah, the Coalition is interesting because they make one game, right? They make a Gears of War.
Gears of War. That's it.
That's really it.
Yeah, that's it.
I always forget
they were made.
Yeah, but that's all Xbox studios. Like the 343 only makes Halo, which is weird.
Yeah. Beforehand it was Playground did the Racing Horizon games, and you have Turn 10.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Playground's now making Fable, so we'll see how that one goes.
We'll see.
Also, did we really need to bring back Fable?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Yes, I love Fable.
Fable 1, yeah. Fable 2 was good. Fable 3 was not great
by now.
Okay, but you just said 2 of them were good. So that's 2 out of 3 is not bad.
Yeah, but I don't know if we need it though. That's
I don't think we need it.
It's been long enough where I'm like
really played Fable 1.
But looking at Xbox, they don't have like a fantasy. They don't have fantasy games.
But do we need fantasy games from a Western perspective?
Yes.
Specifically Xbox.
I'm sorry, did you not know they bought fucking Bethesda?
But Bethesda hasn't been in my line of sights. Like ever since they screwed up Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Fallout, literally anything after 3, I've lost all respect for them.
I think it's always very important to have as much variety as possible, give people the most opportunity to experience new stories in new genres. As much as we like to be like, oh, they're like acquiring everything, Xbox is still seen as a very limited scope for the type of games.
Absolutely.
They're trying to break out of that.
Yeah.
But I think everything they're doing to break out of that is only benefiting us as consumers, and it's benefiting the studios that get more exposure. Like, I don't know, I would say we need more from them because it makes everybody's lives better.
The problem is that they're making games that they think, well, I shouldn't say that they think, but for me, the perspective is like they're making all these Western RPGs to try to sell into the Japanese and Chinese market. And it's just, I don't think that they know what they want, what the market wants.
Yeah. No, I agree with you somewhat on that because it's very much Microsoft is very, right now, at least from what I can tell, very knee-jerk reaction to like everything that's kind of going on. Yeah. Like, do we really need another Perfect Dark? Like, I know I joke and say those games are pretty good, but like we're talking about a gaming industry that is saturated with shooters, right? Like, what are you really going to do differently in this Perfect Dark that nobody has done before? Now with Crystal Dynamics being part of it.
When they own Call of Duty and also Overwatch.
Yeah, now they own Call of Duty Overwatch. So what are you realistically going to do? And even
Halo, and they have Halo.
And they have Halo. And they tend to do these things where like they're trying to revive these old franchises like Banjo-Kazooie, like, you know, when they tried with Nuts and Bolts and shit like that and it failed. Like Halo, as much as I kind of like Halo's thing, Halo is kind of another thing where it's like it's a kind of little too late. We've already done this open world thing, but better with Far Cry. Even if you don't really like Far Cry as a game, it's still a better open world game than Halo. It's still more refined, and there's still more stuff to do in that game than there is. Halo is another thing which is like it's a little too late, and the problem with Perfect Dark is it's another thing. It's a little too late. Same thing with Fable. It's a little too late. We've already had all these really good games from other studios kind of been more refined by other better studios, and it's like, what are you really going to bring to the table? And by the time they bring it to the table, it feels kind of empty in comparison to other games that are out right now.
I would rather any of these studios make up a brand new IP. Work on a brand new IP. Don't work on Fable. Do we need Perfect Dark? No, we don't need it. But I think Xbox itself needs more of a mascot than just Master Chief.
What if Perfect Dark is a third-person action game? It's not even first person.
At this point with Crystal Dynamics now touching
it's probably going to be
third person. Yeah. If Crystal Dynamics is taking it probably.
But that's okay. I'll take it because, like I said, they need more mascots, and they're trying to bring in all these mascots that, like, you can't bring in a race car as a mascot. It just doesn't work
unless you can't have a Lego.
Unless it's Lightning McQueen, it doesn't work. Okay, so. I don't know how they think, what they're thinking, and I hope that they figure it out. But I would rather these studios figure it out on their own. Like if 343 says, "Hey, we actually want to make a different game. We don't want to make another Halo game, or focus. Like we have enough people to make up a smaller team where they're focusing on, where they're focusing on something else. You know." So I don't know.
Rude.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I miss the days. I really do miss the days, and I think back on this a lot of like the 360 era, where you go to a GameStop and it's not the same 5 fucking games that's every year. You got something new. Gears of War, as much as, you know, it's played to absolute death now, was something brand new and interesting for people to jump into.
Yeah.
And I feel like gaming companies are too scared to try something new and in turn just go back on these old IPs. Like, how could we reimagine Fable? How could we reimagine Perfect Dark? How could we reimagine Halo? How about just make a new fucking game?
So they're trying to do the Sony thing, where Sony has brought back God of War, obviously, and it works for Sony because Sony has those mascots, and Sony is known for the stories. You know, it's known for the the third person action game. You know, but it doesn't work for Xbox because, again, Xbox doesn't have the same sales base that Sony does. Again, the Japanese market is what they're looking for, you know? So I don't know. I hope that this works out for the Initiative, the Coalition.
The Coalition, that's the studio I was thinking of earlier.
Yeah.
Coalition. Yeah.
But again, which also kind of confuses the two of them because they're kind of similar in names.
Yeah, but I keep wanting to say Initiative, honestly. Yeah. I thought that was the Gears of War studio.
It is the Initiative. Yeah.
The
Coalition is...
Jeez, you just did it. Coalition is Gears of War. Initiative is this.
I'm saying earlier I wanted to say Initiative was Coalition.
Yeah. So
words are hard.
Yeah.
Words are hard.
You know what also sucks about this whole thing too? Like in terms of just like other studios with Microsoft working in, a lot of the games that they're putting out are just early access titles, right? That are constantly changing. Like Rare, they've had Rare in their grubby claws for so long, and they've been working on Sea of Thieves and Grounded.
No, Rare wasn't working on that.
That was
the Bethesda studio. There you go.
Rare is Obsidian.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Obsidian.
Sorry.
Rare is working on that weird.
Grounded is Obsidian.
Yeah, Obsidian's working on Grounded. Like, and it's still early access, and the game's almost been out for like 2 years.
But that's okay because it's something new. You know, I would rather it be.
Well, don't forget Forspoken, which is also. I'm sorry, not Forspoken.
Avowed.
Forsaken.
Avowed.
Well, the grounded thing goes back to what I said earlier of just like you're doing ideas of other studios that have already done the idea better. Grounded is just Rust. It's just every other survival kind of PvP type or PvE type game where you create a base and stuff like that. It's just Rust at the end of the day.
Yeah, but
like,
Rust is now Rust is on consoles.
Now Rust is on everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not asking them to create new genres. We're just simply asking innovate and make
think of something new,
something different.
Yeah,
we take some risks in the gaming industry, guys. Like let's get some new ballsy games like Strangers of Paradise.
But even Strangers of Paradise, like I got to give it props to Square Enix for realizing like people were shitting on this game when they first brought out that trailer, but they stuck to their guns. They were like, you know what, I think this game will review very, very well.
You know what's funny about that, Ruben?
It doesn't have to be a 10 out of 10, but it looks like dumb fun.
But do you want to know?
And it doesn't have to have
Ruben?
a great story.
They didn't give anybody fucking codes for the game. For the
most
part.
That's okay.
But it's like this game's just gonna
because they knew it was gonna be hey, this story sucks ass, but
I agree with the Greg Miller aspect of this, where he was like, I think they wanted to give codes to people that actually asked for codes, and didn't send codes out, because this is like I think I said this in the last podcast. This is a niche of a niche game.
Yeah.
People are not like only I am going to play this game here. Maybe Frank.
I'm going to play the shit out of this game.
Yeah,
I am also
absolutely. I will say it on podcast. I absolutely love when you get a hero in a game who absolutely doesn't give a shit that he's in a video game.
And also looks like
people need to know this is a Neo ass game. So this game is going to be hard as fuck when you get to the bosses and stuff. If you like the Neo franchise, you are going to like this game. That's really what it comes down to. Yeah. Because the combat is exactly the same as Neo 2. Exactly.
I was kind of hoping that they brought this back into the Dissidia franchise that they had, where the storyline was there for this Dissidia game.
But the thing I will say about this, about them not giving a fuck about like Stranger in Paradise, let's throw this out. This is also a company that made Project Octopath and just dropped the project part of it. Yeah. And they made Project Triangle Strategy. And they're just like, you know what? Triangle Strategy, baby. Let's go. Let's get into Triangle Strategy.
This is also being developed by a company that makes a volleyball game. So
exactly, right? So there's a lot of things happening.
I guess we'll cap this one off with
thank you. Yeah.
If you're a studio head out there, or like, CEO or some kind of thing, just remember that, at least now in these days of working, these people can find better jobs. Treat your workers with respect, and the respect that you want to garner for yourself, and hopefully you'll end up with a good product at the end of the day. But this is not what's going on in the initiative is not how you make a good product. And even if they didn't depart and this game came out and this was like the work culture, I doubt the product would be good by the end of the day, and I doubt fans would be very happy with what you're putting out with there. So figure your shit out, and then we can maybe come back to Perfect Dark.
Yeah, we're still in the Great Resignation, so
we haven't even seen gameplay for this game yet, so who knows how much this game has been developed. So probably gonna get scrapped and made by Crystal Dynamics. So
well, Frank.
All right, let's move on to the glorious thing that is the tidbits. At the request of our co-host Sly here, our first tidbit this week is going to be from Gamatsu's Sal Ramono. Chinatown Detective Agency launches April 7th. This is good for both Fee and you, Sly.
Oh yeah, Fee and I have both been so insanely excited for this game. It's so close. I can taste it. It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait, and I hope everybody who has listened to Fee and I rave about how much we love the demo and the prologue over the past months can appreciate how excited we are for this game. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah, I know Fee's been super excited about it. I like this game. I think it looks really cool. I don't know if I would necessarily play through the whole thing, just mainly because like it's just not my cup of tea in terms of gameplay. But I think the idea of having a detective game where you actually have to use real life resources to figure out in-game puzzles is absolutely awesome. And when me and Fee, when I helped Fee do some of the puzzles in the other one, it was a blast. It was a blast trying to find old stamps from like 1700s to pinpoint accuracy, figure out like, you know, where it originates from or something like that. You know what I mean? It was really fun. It was really cool, and I can't wait to see what other kind of crazy things they added to like the full game.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And on that note, our next little tidbit here comes from Kotaku's Luke Plunkett. This is actually kind of an update of last week's tidbit. Valve fixed Elden Ring just for the Steam Deck. So apparently, from what I gather, because of the way the Steam Deck is like built in terms of just like its UI and like it's like its code and everything like that, Valve just went in and just like fixed all the bullshit that like got broken with that last update for Elden Ring, and they did it specifically for this. So good on you, Valve. Good. They probably saw like, hey, all these people are buying Elden Ring wanting to play on the Steam Deck and nobody can play it, so I guess we got to fix it.
Good on Valve, but also like Valve is getting scarily like too powerful, you know?
Oh yeah, no, they're powerful. They own Steam. When you think about how big Steam is in
Well,
comparison
not even
to like everything else, it's like holy crap.
Like what's going on with Portal 3?
They actually, so funny you mentioned that. There is, if you buy a Steam Deck, there is a small little like, not, I wouldn't say a full game, but it's like an add-on game based in the Portal universe that actually has like Portal lore in it. Like,
okay, all right,
with Cave Johnson and everything. So
that's
okay.
Aperture Employee, I think it's called, or something like that. Yeah, it's like a little. It's like if you, when you buy the VR headset, like the Valve VR headset, and you put it on, it has like a Portal kind of tech demo, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Portal. I just wish I could play it without throwing up.
Oh, first person stuff.
Yeah.
That game is very heavy, like motion.
Just the motion. It's not even it being first person. It's you're going one direction and then you're going another direction.
You're speeding through and stuff like that. Portal 1 might be more your jam. But yeah, Portal.
I tried both.
Okay, that's
I would say usually what gets people sick, at least from what I noticed, is the motion blur. Those games on consoles have like heavy motion blur. Turn it off on PC, you might be a little bit fine, but I don't know what exactly triggers your like motion sickness, so it could be like a number of different things. But yeah, this one's out for our Peacemakers fans in the tidbits here. This one comes from Gizmodo's Rob Bricken. The Suicide Squad's James Gunn will guest on the Harley Quinn cartoon as himself. I wanted to put this in here because I don't think we've really mentioned the Harley Quinn TV show on this podcast.
No.
It's amazing. It's a really good show. It is it's so dumb, the way it like handles the Batman universe, but it's so hilariously good that you gotta watch it.
The Commissioner Gordon on that show is by far my favorite. He's played by,
oh my god, so good.
He's played by the guy from Christopher Maloney from
Christopher Maloney.
Law and Order, and it's so fucking funny, man. So good.
He's so sad.
He brings
like,
such
why won't
comedy
Batman
to
call
it.
me?
It's like the best friend who like always has to be around his best friend type deal.
Yes.
For the people who haven't seen it, it's that show is amazing. The Bane on there is my favorite Bane of all time.
King Shark is pretty good.
King Shark,
but it also like
amazing.
gives like Harley Quinn a better like. It makes the character greater than what the movies have done, which is really, really fun.
Yeah, it's weird because like, as much as I'm starting to like warm up to Margot Robbie's like Harley Quinn, the show itself very much tries to do what the movies are trying to do, which is like make this character basically Deadpool. All right, at the end of the day, but like this version. Yeah, this version on the show though, it definitely takes a lot more of that spirit from the comics and kind of amalgamates like, you know, different versions of Harley Quinn from like, you know, the Jester years to like now, and it works out so well. It's hilarious. Like I think that there's like one of the first DC things that they've put out there where I've actually like laughed out loud because it was actually funny. Well, yeah, if you haven't seen the Harley Quinn show, go check it out. And if you've seen Peacemaker, now James Gunn's going to be a part of it. So keep an eye out for that. Our next tidbit here comes from Bloody Disgusting's Mike Wilson. Konami updates Silent Hill trademark to include VR. So if you guys seen the news this week, Silent Hill, I'm thinking Silent Hill's trademark kind of ran out in terms of like their license. So apparently Konami had renewed it, which made people think that they're going to make a new game. But apparently this also includes a trademark to include VR with Silent Hill. As much as I'm like, I hate Konami for what they did with Metal Gear, they haven't really done much of anything since Metal Gear Solid 5 to make me go, okay, well, I still don't trust them. They could possibly make a new game.
Metal Gear Survive.
I mean, we forget about that game. That game doesn't exist. That game doesn't exist. We're gonna move on from that.
Yes.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
I was it was a joke. It was a joke.
No, I don't know if I really care anymore about Silent Hill to the point where I need Konami to make it. I don't know if we really like the horror field even needs a Silent Hill anymore. I know some people were like, there's nobody doing psychological horror like Silent Hill, and I'm like, there are a ton of horror games out there that are doing psychological horror like Silent Hill. Outlast does a really good psychological horror. The Medium, as much as people shit on that one, was actually pretty damn good. Evil Within is basically just Silent Hill, but with like Resident Evil 4 controls. So I don't know where people are getting that. We really 100% need Silent Hill.
What is the name that got censored by PlayStation that came out recently?
Oh
my god!
Crap, I forgot about it.
It doesn't matter. Don't play it. I was going to make a bad joke. You should play that game. Don't play that game.
Don't play that game.
I heard shit.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I just don't care about Silent Hill that much anymore. There's been too many years of just like fake outs of people like saying Silent Hill's coming back. It's not coming back. Silent Hill's coming back. It's not coming back. It's just, I have the games. I have the originals. The originals are great. I say this every time we talk about something like this. The people who made those games great are not at that studio anymore. They're not going to be making the Silent Hill you know and love because those people are gone. They have moved on. They're working on other projects. Go follow them and see if maybe the project they're working on is something you like. Like the Castlevania developer made Bloodstained. And Bloodstained is pretty damn good. So do we really know another Castlevania? No, because we have Castlevania at home. So I don't know.
No, we still need more Castlevania.
We have a perfectly good Castlevania sitting at home.
Exactly. Like, it's as much as I get excited every time Silent Hill comes up. It's not like people want Silent Hills. People want the Kojima one. People want Silent Hill 2. People want Silent Hill 3. People want so many different versions of the Silent Hill thing, and it's just like it's not going to happen like that. It's going to be
not with that
probably
attitude, Frank.
Silent Hill downpour.
Not with that attitude.
We can't get another Silent Hill because the guy that made Silent Hill is making Slitterhead, right?
Slitterhead?
I don't like that.
Yeah. Slitherhead or Slitherhead? I don't remember.
Slytherin.
Yeah.
That's a whole other discussion that we're not talking about.
Yeah.
Slitterhead, I think it is.
But
whatever. Yeah.
Before we move on to the next one, I will say really quick, I am all for VR horror. I think there is not a killer app out there for VR that is 100% a horror game, and I think tacking on random VR elements to a horror game is bullshit, and make something from the ground up. That would be really cool. Our next little tidbit comes from GamesIndustry.biz's Danielle Pardis. Itch.io bundle for Ukraine raises $6.3 million.
Yes.
So this has actually been floating around in our little friend group as well. I know Fee and Mario have been posting about this bundle as well. Yeah. You bought the bundle.
I bought the bundle. I will not play any game out of this bundle, but I bought the bundle to support.
There is a few games on there. I'm like, fuck, I can't believe this is in here.
Too many games. It's 1,000 games. There's no way.
I mean, 900 games. Probably not gonna touch, to be fair, but the fucking 100 that are in there, there's a good chunk in here that's pretty solid.
Plus, they don't work on Steam, which I'm gonna like. Ugh.
No, they're just open. Yeah, just open now.
Yeah, it's like kind of like buying like one of those. If you remember on the NES, you just buy one of those like 101 games, and like you probably only play one of the 99 of them because the other ones are just like bad.
But it's for an amazing cause though, so that's why.
An amazing cause, raised $6.3 million. It's insane. I'm glad for them, and I'm glad for Ukraine that they're getting a good little money injection from the gaming crowd. It's good. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
On that note, our next little tidbit comes from GameSpot's Eddie McCoke. Hideo Kojima reacts to the Batman and Robert Pattinson's muscles. So I put a link here because I believe the headline is like the greatest thing I've ever read ever, and I'm going to read it back to you guys here. Quote from Kojima, he gives the impression of flexible back muscles like a ballet dancer, not hard muscles from muscle training and protein soaking. So if any, I guess Kojima knows muscles.
Kojima's gonna Kojima. You know,
Kojima's gonna Kojima and make some very weird Kojima comments, but it seemed like he loved the Batman as much as we did. Yeah,
but the phrasing on that is,
well, yeah. To be fair, like he's Japanese,
yeah.
So like
it might be a little bit out of translation and everything like that. But basically, what he's saying is like, unlike like Ben Affleck's Batman, right? Which is, I joke about this because he looks like he's in the fucking Christmas Story, like he can't drop his arms. You know what I mean? Robert Pattinson's Batman looks like he actually fights because he moves gracefully and he's not like super bulky. He can actually like move around and stuff like that. Which probably means if you want to read into this,
muscles, not
useful muscles. Yeah. Exactly, not like, you know, biceps the size of like 2 Ben Affleck's heads, but but if you know, with Kojima, everything's kind of you read between the lines, and if you could read between the lines here and get into the Ruse Cruise, that is Kojima Productions, you can probably infer that Robert Pattinson's probably already been called for the next Kojima project.
Oh my god!
Could you imagine?
Or Kojima wants to be the next Batman. One of the two.
Or
maybe Kojima's doing a Batman game. Could you imagine that?
A Kojima Batman game would be
Metal Gear on steroids.
It would be really good, but I think it would go over a lot of people's heads.
Oh yeah.
I want Kojima to be cast in every project ever. Give him a cameo in literally anything he wants.
Matt Reeves, if you for some reason watch this podcast, put Kojima in the next Batman movie.
Please do.
Can you be the ventriloquist?
Oh my god, that is really, really good, Frank. I could see it happening. That's how you get him in the movie.
He doesn't have to say a word. Yeah.
He doesn't have to say a word. On that note,
only if Lady Gaga has Scarface, I'd be totally into that.
That would be really cool. On that note, our next tidbit comes from The Verge's Kim Lyons. Netflix gives a peek at upcoming Resident Evil series. I skipped one, didn't I?
No,
Where's the Scream one?
I caught it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Courtney Cox is coming back to Scream. Fantastic.
Yeah. I thought you would like to talk about that, but anyway, Netflix gives a peek at its upcoming Resident Evil series.
Why do we keep trying? Why do we keep trying?
Why?
Why are we keep putting this?
It's weird because like
for this one.
There's
how bad it's gonna be. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Go ahead. I can pitch
Here's
the show.
The thing. What's weird? Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you pitch the show after this. But here's the weird thing, right? I'm excited for this because of the cast.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not excited of this because they keep making the same mistake of why do we just keep changing the Resident Evil mythos so far this way that it's not even Resident Evil anymore, but add like small little Resident Evil elements to keep making it Resident Evil.
They're copying the movies.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, why do that? Because it's obviously not worked, especially with the new movie that came out. But this one's obviously been in development for a while, so obviously they're not going to scrap it because the new movie failed. But like, in a way, I kind of want to see what this is the most interesting version of Resident Evil that I might jump into. I don't jump into the movies because the movies are god awful. I didn't want to jump into the new one, even if Mario actually offered to pay for it.
I do love it. There's only one questionable thing in it. Other than that, I really love it. It's really fun.
I think you and 5 other people did, but yeah.
100%. Our theater loved it. We were having fun. Yeah. We were ripping it apart.
But yeah, go ahead. Pitch me on this Resident Evil TV show.
Really quick, just to backtrack. So I also love the other movies, primarily because they are the what if we did Resident Evil Fast and the Furious, where it just kept escalating every movie and going crazy and absolutely wild. The characters kept coming back. Literally the same shit. Michelle Rodriguez is in both fucking series. Anyways, this, of course, is in its own fucking universe as well, the Netflix universe. It's going to be about Wesker's primarily Wesker's family. That's right. We're talking about his daughters. He has daughters in this. He's played by the one, the only Lance Reddick. That's right. Zavala from Destiny.
LeVar Burton's foil.
Yes, LeVar Burton's foil, which is a very specific reference if you understand what Frank's saying. I'm fucking totally down because obviously Lance Reddick looks nothing like the traditional character, and I don't give a fuck. Put that man in a black leather jacket and some sunglasses, and I'm fucking in. I'm fucking in for this.
Lance Reddick in anything is good.
The only reason I even want to remotely watch the show, the only reason I even want to maybe even give a glance at the show is because of Lance Reddick, and that's purely it.
I don't know.
I'm excited.
I'm still hesitant.
I'm just because, who gives a fuck about these games in terms of continuity? You can care about them, but in terms of the media at this point,
so here's where I have a problem with this, and this also talks with the Halo thing. People actually give a fuck about these stories. We may go on and say nobody really cares about these stories. People actually do, and that's the fans who are going to watch the show are the people who give a shit about this story.
Even Capcom doesn't give a shit.
Capcom cares enough to actually.
Did you see the gunfight in one of the animated movies?
I mean, those movies have always been kind of ridiculous, and obviously they're not canon, so it doesn't matter. Neither does this. But to say that nobody gives a shit is reaching a little bit. That's like with the Halo thing that happened this week was just like nobody gives a shit about the Halo story. It's like people do. There's fans of this.
You're talking about that specific thing. There was nothing wrong with that man said. By the way, we won't get into it.
No, I agree. I think the headline was terrible.
The headline was terrible. There was literally nothing wrong with what he said.
What he said, I was like, yeah. Let's
for context for people that don't know. One of the showrunners was interviewed by, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was GameSpot. Variety, thank you. And his take was, we didn't look at the games specifically. We looked at the world and the universe. We talked to 343 Industries. We looked at all the aspects that they could, eventually venture out within the world. But they still mainly are talking about the context of the world, which if you look at the trailer, very fucking close to it. So yeah, it's going to have the confines and things that you remember. It's just not going to have the same fucking story that you were told in the video games, which... Majority of the story is told through your actions, which you are the main character. So I totally understand that. So otherwise,
I just think that the idea of nobody, but of saying nobody cares about these stories. There's a fan base for a reason. There's a reason why these games sell gangbusters every year that they come out is because people care about those stories and they want to see they want to see stuff I've definitely come onto the side of when it's live action, I kind of do want to see something new. But at the same time, when you haven't done live action, a live action version of the games in its original form at all, then it's how people keep saying oh well no, we don't need to do those stories. But you haven't done them, so how do you know that?
But I think now that we have in this, we're gonna wrap up the show soon. The example that I'm going back to now is they just did it differently, and it's not the same that we expected this world. Detective Pikachu is really fucking solid for it not being a main Pokemon game. Obviously, it's based on a side game, but it's not following that story. That and Sonic the Hedgehog was not terrible for what it honestly did. I mean,
perfect.
Fucking Sonic 2 looks incredible, and it's not following those games. Well, it is following those games. Don't get me wrong, but it's not. There's no fucking humans in the original world.
Yeah, but it's different for that.
Exactly, because we're talking about Pokemon, which has a mystery behind its story. It's not even fully told anyway.
And we're talking about a CG movie when we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, which you can't really put that much.
Action. You can't say that.
Okay. Well, that's what I mean. You can't make it a CG. Well, you can. What I'm trying to say is, it works for Sonic. I don't play any of the Resident Evil games. I have a couple of them behind me, but I am too much of a scaredy cat to play any of these games by myself. Sure. So I don't know anything about the lore. I don't know anything about the story of the game, but this does not sound good at all. Why are we doing this?
Reddick is honestly the only saving grace here, but yeah.
When you look at Resident Evil, it's been like this for the last fucking 15 years now. That they've just made us it's just been memed on for the last 15 years because of the movies that they've done. Right?
Yeah, but the stories have gotten better.
The games, the games, after 5, or after 4, I guess. Even after 4.
I mean, 5. So 6. You're probably referring to 6. 6 is definitely like a 100% a knee-jerk reaction to the movies because they were like, "Why are these movies so popular in these areas? Maybe our games are bad, and we need to adapt to the movies." And then the game came out emulating the movies, and everybody hated it. Everybody hated it, and they're like, "Oh, I guess people actually like the Resident Evil story. Our fan base actually likes the story. Go figure."
Yeah,
I feel like 7 they brought it back. 8 they're starting to go back into that other thing again, and I was like, guys, bring it back. Just keep bringing it back.
Because it's kind of hard to put Chris Redfield be like B level like original stars like fighting one zombie at a time type dude when he's punching boulders already. So it's like you got to have a little mix of both.
Yeah, I feel like they're going back to where they were again, but like. No. Resident Evil to me at this point is just a solid franchise that like do what the fuck you want to it. I don't really care at this point. But when you got like franchises like maybe like Halo, put a little bit more care into that. Last of Us that's coming out, I'm sad that it's gonna be the first game again. Like I don't like that, but it's an HBO series. I'm hoping that like we get some new tidbits out of there. I don't expect anything really new out of it, but like. It is what it is. What we're gonna get.
I am excited for Last of Us because, like I said, Last of Us hasn't been done on the big screen. Give an opportunity to actually do that original thing that people want to see a live action version of on the big screen. If it doesn't work, then by all means make a new series and change things up again. But give the original work of the people who like made those things a chance and make it close to what the fans want. Again, this is not canon. This is
still Resident Evil. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
This is a direct DVD. This is a direct DVD CGI movie that came out.
You gotta take the good with the bad, is what I'm saying. And it's okay. It's okay to like this. It's also okay to not like it. But at the same time, just like let the fucking things exist. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I don't even know what's canon and not canon in Resident Evil anymore. So really,
I mainly just mainline games at this point. But like, it's all wishy-washy at the end of the day too. But on that note, we're going to get to our last little tidbit here, and then we're going to end the show here. This last tidbit comes from the gamer's Sean Murray, not the Sean Murray, not Nomad Sky Sean Murray. This goes back to our initiative talk here, and there's Bandai Namco Mobile is testing 4-day work weeks. I'm all for this, man.
Hell yeah.
Like normalize 4-day work weeks. It makes no sense for people to have to work almost 95% of their weeks at work and then have like 2 days to themselves. Like it makes no sense. Let people be able to enjoy the life that they're accumulating this money for. And this is definitely a good step in the direction for, devs and just like, general, staff to not hate what they're doing because they're constantly there. Hopefully it translates to better products and better things coming out within Bandai Namco's mobile team. But hopefully this gets normalized a little bit more within other companies and stuff like that if it works out.
I think this can be a real revolution towards moving away from the crunch culture that has been so insanely popular in this industry by them saying, hey, like you're not working 3 days this week, like take it off, enjoy your life.
If only that was the case. If only we could do something like that. The crunch culture will never go away until unions get involved or something like that gets involved. It's just how, because like people are going to go home and they're going to start working because they want to try to get as much work done. Being from a tech company that I've worked with 10 companies and stuff like that, this is the norm. The crunch stuff is just part of the norm of the job.
It's not even tech companies. It's just crunch overall. Like I was talking to somebody this week.
Standardized. What I'm saying is by them, instituting this work week, it's a step in the right direction to move away from that. And so I think we're going to see a lot of positives coming out from, it, especially if Bandai Namco comes out with excellent products after instituting this policy. It has the potential to make a real wave in the industry. Yeah. And that's what we should be focusing on.
Yeah.
I do think that it's interesting because I'm looking right here because I know that in Europe there's a lot of differences between how people work specifically. They offer longer vacations and longer breaks and stuff like that. I'm tired of the status quo. Honestly, I think that's the whole thing of this whole generation of people is that we're just kind of tired of how everything's been, and that's why we're changing daylight savings time.
Be that way. Yeah, and then it has to be that way, right? Like we have to have a 9 to 5. We have to spend $1,000 to $1,200 a month on rent. We have to have this job that it's a job. You don't have to love it. Healthcare can be. It's just a constant. Like we have to do this. And now that we
speak for yourself on that one.
Yeah, and now
fuck you.
I was talking to Fiona about going to the doctor the other day. She's like, I can just go to the doctor. I'm like, I can't afford that shit. I
better be fucking dying.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like on my deathbed. I'm not going to the doctor, but it doesn't have to be that way. And now with stuff like they could take an hour away from us, like the government can take an hour away from us and make it permanent. Make a 4-day work weeks. Okay, I need a little compromise here. You took an hour from me, motherfucker. Okay, it is nighttime outside longer, and I don't like that. Or it's daytime outside longer, and I don't like that.
Fair.
You don't like that?
Listen.
Nope.
I understand that mass majority of people don't need daylight savings time. As somebody who grew up in the middle of nowhere, who has everybody works on farms around here, it's really important. I know it doesn't matter to 99%, but people who work with livestock, work on farms, that daylight savings really makes the difference. So I
want my hour back though. I feel like a piece of my life has been stolen from me, like a piece of my soul.
But by the government, they give it back.
You're guaranteed in a month you're gonna forget about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Like we all do.
It's like,
God,
right. I think it's the Scandinavian countries. Either Finland or Sweden is doing, or Norway. One of the three are doing 4-day work weeks. I think it might be Norway.
Yeah, I think it is Norway. Yeah, it's Norway.
That's doing 4-day work weeks right now. That's what their legislation passed.
Listen, man, I'm trying to get 2-day work weeks going on. Give us the 5 days off.
What they're gonna do?
What
they're gonna do is we'll give you 4-day work weeks, but you got to work 10 hours a day.
I mean, I'm doing that now.
Just regular as a regular.
Should you not, Harv? We used to do that at Verizon. For a little bit there until obviously
because you have to hit 40 hours of work week because if you don't because 40 hours is full time at that point, right?
Yeah, we just want honestly we weren't full time. We didn't even have to do 40 hours, and even if we went over 40 hours, it's not like we got overtime anyways. Our bosses own that store anyway, so we can say all this shit now. Yeah. We didn't even get fucking lunch breaks, but
no, we did not get lunch breaks.
Yeah, but we would constantly change the schedule because we were so burnt out. We would go, hey, give me an extra day off, but I will work an extra. I'll work the whole day myself. Yeah. And it was it worked out for a little bit there until one of us got burnt out. Yeah. Until you wanted to die.
This is where
maybe.
This is where the problem lies. Honestly, is when it comes to as content creators, we don't put our full into this, right? Because we have other jobs that we have to do, right?
Yeah, I got other shit to worry about that's not on my computer all the time. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But if this was the only thing we're working on, we'd be working on this 60 hours a week, easy.
Yeah,
just to make everything better, just to make everything.
It's different for that because this is what we're passionate about. We're not passionate about our fucking 9 to 5 jobs. Yeah, I could give two shits about that thing.
Yeah. I agree, but hopefully, I mean, this seems to be a trend with at least devs right now, where you're starting to see this. Bandai Namco isn't the first person to do this. I believe there was another studio who did this recently. I just don't remember who they were. It seems like this is starting to become a little bit of a trend. So we'll see how this, gives reaction to other devs out there, and hopefully, I mean, maybe we start seeing it trickle down into retail people. You know what I mean? Because shit's tough out here, man. Shit's tough out here. These hours are crazy. You know what I mean? I want to see my family, man. I have to see my cat, man. I want to see my cat. You know what I mean? But on that note, that's it. That's the tidbits. That's everything, guys. Thank you so much for reacting to the news with me.
Fantastic, Frank. Thank you so much for reporting the news. And that's going to take us to the end of the Point in Progress episode 45. So, again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for everyone being in the chat. I'm going to start with Ruben, our guest. Where can people find you? Penultimate Conquest. Where can we find all that?
We can find the Penultimate Conquest on YouTube. Just search up the Penultimate Conquest. We got a bunch of stuff over there. You can find us on Twitch at Penultimate Conquest, and you can find us on Twitter at Pen Conquest. I just recently put out a tweet today. I was thinking of, since the DLC for Mario Kart is coming out, in waves. Today, yeah, it came out today. Well, the first part of it came out today, and I think they're doing it weekly, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong about that.
It's going to be periods of time. Because they got to do it for 2 years.
It's from here until end of 2023, right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Well, slow IV drip right there.
But there's like 80 new tracks, so there's a lot of tracks.
Yeah. I was thinking of doing like a big tournament thing, but clearly I thought this was going to be a weekly thing where we just.
Let's wait until 2023. Really,
yeah.
It can be an ongoing
By
thing,
then, Yeah, this is true. Yeah, it could definitely be an ongoing thing.
Yeah, I could steal one of Mario. You still have 2 Switches, or did you sell the other one?
I have one.
Fuck. God damn it.
I'm gonna buy the OLED.
I gotta switch.
I'm gonna buy the OLED though.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Ruben. Sly, where can people find you on the net?
You can find me personally anywhere on the internet at SlyClanMC. You can also find me on the Stark Radio Show on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Of course, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we have a big announcement tomorrow. If you're watching this live, if you are watching this or listening to this as a recording, go check out our YouTube channel. The show will be archived there. But yeah, I'm really excited for what we have to announce tomorrow.
Yeah, that's awesome. Harv, where can people find you on the net?
I'm around, you can find me at Beard in the Hair pretty much everywhere except YouTube, which is Beard in the Hair Gaming. I'm going to be putting some more content up on there in the coming weeks because my personal life is going to be switching up here in a little bit, so I'm going to be putting a little bit more emphasis on the YouTube stuff and on the streaming side of it again. And I'm excited because I remember doing it last time and I had a lot of fun until I couldn't do it anymore. So I'm excited to jump back into it again.
No, for sure. And of course, if you check out Harv's last TikTok where he used gravity to defeat an enemy, it was a lot of fun. So
yeah, shout out to Mario for making the TikToks as well, because I know you got yourself a busy time right now, and with everything that's happening, and that was got the most likes I've ever gotten on TikTok.
Really? Okay, I'm gonna look at that.
70, awesome. 70 something. Yeah.
Holy
so I was like, yeah.
Okay. If you know the references that I made in that video, power to you. But otherwise, that sounds good. Frank,
I don't even know the references that fucking Mario makes. He just gives them to me. I'm like, all right, this looks good. Let's fucking throw it up.
Mostly movie references. Frank, where can people find you on that?
You can find me at Twitter at the Frank GV, where I talk shit about video games. That's probably where you're gonna have to look for right now in terms of until I can figure out like what our drop in drop out schedule is to figure out when we're gonna start doing more of those. With this new job I got, you probably won't see a lot of videos coming from me for a little bit until I get everything and get into the groove of everything. Or you might see more videos because I actually have money to do stuff now. So. You might see some live action videos from me and Mario in some Chicago stuff. But other than that, you can find me there. You can find me here at Point in Progress. And that's basically kind of about it. I don't think I'm going to be streaming anytime soon, so I'm not even going to mention Twitch.
Fair enough. And of course, you can find me here at Point in Progress, where we do MC University on Wednesdays. I believe we have to get ready for the next one. We'll talk about that a little later. But obviously, wonderful show. Check out the Electric Talk. It was fantastic. Get ready for the next episode, which is whatever we decide. I forgot what the next one was.
Fantastic Four.
Oh, shit. That is awesome. And it's on Disney Plus, so we'll catch up with us. It'll be fantastic.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
so sorry you have to watch
I have
that.
a soft spot for that movie, so I'm excited to get back.
It's a great movie.
I love 2 as well. I think 2 is
It's over serious.
Look out for our episode.
No. It's a great movie for its time. I
for
also
its
have a
time.
soft spot
For
this
its time.
movie.
I'm very curious how it holds up today. I'm very
doesn't
curious.
hold up,
It
no.
probably does not.
No.
But that's the whole point of MC University. So definitely check out those episodes. You can also find me over at Tech Raptor, where I am kind of taking a step back in terms of making videos, but I'm taking a step forward and sort of managing a bunch of people to come over, have their first shot in the games industry, and do some videos. I'll go ahead and name some of them that are already out, one at a time. One at a time. There's a lot of people that need assistance. ISO Christian, of course, done some videos. Tiffany Australia, who's awesome, did a bunch of videos. Our boy Kevin Diaz, PS Source, has done a video. Pixel Chris has done a video, and many more that are still coming out next week. I'm very excited. There's also some long form videos that I'm also excited for everyone to see as well. With that, you can also find me at Twitter at Nightmute City. And that's the end of that. By the way, ask really nicely to Echo Clo. How did they get their Twitter back?
got her Twitter back. That's
she got
crazy.
her Twitter back, and she is not responding to my messages. So ask her very nicely.
Oh no!
I was like, whoa, there might be hope for Mario.
For you, Mario. You might be able to get your stuff back.
She has the Rooster's Teeth insight. Who knows if that helped? But
that probably helped a little bit. I don't know how you would I don't know if they would keep that account in a vault somewhere and just I imagine that you just delete it and it's just done.
I think it's a time-based thing. I think it's a time-based
thing.
It's a way to spend time.
But I tried to submit recently, and it was sort of like the same bullshit that
I think it's time-based where they don't tell you how much time left on the ban.
Yeah, it says permanently banned, so we'll see. But anyways, that has been, of course, the Point in Progress podcast show. I want to thank everyone here again. Thank you in the chat. It was been wonderful. Some of your lovely names pop up on our screen, so please be here to interact with us and be a part of the show in a lot of ways. And with that, progress has been made.
Yeah, shout out to Lance Reddick.
You know what? Shout out to Lance Reddick.
Yeah, shout out to Lance Reddick. Shout out to LeVar Burton too. Why not?